angel. What's your name? Satan.
We're such a mess together. You make me lose my temper. You're the only one.
Sir, get down! Sir, get down! Get down!
I shoot him, you die too.
Adam, I'm thinking it over.
What? What do you mean you're thinking?
It's a complicated issue.
What is there to think
No,
over?
it's
a big decision.
Not
It's not a big decision.
I need to think it through.
I'm about to lose my shit here.
Oh, you're wasting my time. You're just wasting time. Something happens and I'm head over heels. I never find out till I'm head over heels.
Nothing bad happened? You didn't wreck it? You didn't hit anybody? You didn't run anybody over? You didn't get a speeding ticket? Wait, Jeffy, why are you making that face?
Major bag alert, major bag alert, bag alert, major.
Burn my house to the ground! My family's dead! What do I do? I'm gonna find you, motherfucker. I'm gonna find
Who are you? An angel. What's your name? Satan.
Leave me alone!
So this is Christmas, and what have we done?
What has he got?
你爱着谁，尽头要去岛上。我洒着泪，最是相思的人唱。诺言分贝，只有夜里会更好。这段遗憾成功。
I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first, Lucian.
And I promise you.
This is the first time in my life that I've been provoked to hit a woman.
I saw the life inside your eyes. Tonight, you and I were beautiful like diamonds in the sky.
Admit you look toxic. You poisoned me just for another dollar in your pocket. Now I am the violence. I am the sickness. Won't accept your silence. Beg me for forgiveness.
The fucking where is it? Where the is it? I swear to God. You laughing, girl? You trying to laugh? This funny?
Excuse
me, brah. You're excused.
If you see
not your bro.
I just wanna be the best at what I know. Better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective.
You know, if you want to be happier, you have to try. You have to put in the effort. Your problem is that you don't try. I do try. I have tried. I have tried for 16 years.
World don't revolve around you, girl. You're not the only one. World don't revolve around you, girl. You're not the only one.
Tell me again. What? Tell me again.
Really, I would rather be at home all by myself, not in this room with people who don't even care about my well-being. I don't dance, don't ask, I don't need a boyfriend, so you can't go back. Please enjoy your party, I'll be here somewhere in the corner under clouds of marijuana with this boy who's hollering I can hardly hear. Oh, with this music I don't listen to, and I don't wanna get with you, so tell my friends that I'll be over here. Oh, here. Oh, here. Oh, I ask myself, what am I doing here? Oh, here. Oh, here.
Fact is, Walter White couldn't have done it without me. I kept Walter White out of jail. I wanted his money. I lied for him. I conspired with him, and I made millions.